So another Skirmish season has come and gone. And when it comes to Blitz, Skirmish Season 9 was a big deal. Not only was it the first real injection of LL points we've had in 8 months, but over 2,200 points were awarded, 4 heroes retired, and we have a brand new meta headed into Rosetta. So let's look at the results from Week 3 and recap the season as a whole. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood friends. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast, and thank you so much for tuning in here on your Flesh and Blood Monday. That's right, coming off of Rosetta pre-release. I was able to host one this weekend, and hopefully you're able to go to a couple of them, and hopefully your pack rips were good. I got a pretty good rip. I got the legendary lightning boots. I got very, very, very lucky. But again, hopefully you had a great time. Now, today what I want to do is recap we got the points summary last week for Week 3 of Skirmish season, which means that we can not only look at what happened Week 3, but we can also look at what happened during the entire season. Now, it's no secret that Skirmish Season 9 was a big deal for Blitz, right? And as I alluded to in the intro, we hadn't seen a major point influx like this for over 8 months. And we had 2 sets released during then. I think it was 12 heroes, right? Because we're not counting the other 3 because Aurora counts. But yeah, I think that's right. Hopefully that's not wrong. But regardless, you see my point. Major deal, right, to actually get these points. And we saw, obviously, 4 heroes retire, right, with Rhinar going this last week. So what I wanted to do was, we're going to talk about Week 3 and the whole season kind of together, but I want to do them all. I've got 2 spreadsheets, all right, that'll be fine. But let's go ahead and recap where we started, or where we're supposed to potentially start coming in. So there were 625 total skirmish events listed in Gem headed into this, 450 of which were Blitz, which meant that at 5 points apiece, we had a potential for 2,250 total points to be available. Now, what we've calculated as of what's available today, okay, are 2,205 recorded points for Blitz. Now, that comes with a little bit of a caveat. So if you actually go ahead and flash up, let's go to LSS's Skirmish Season 9 summary for Week 3, you do actually see, if you go all the way down there, you do see that Dash and Briar both actually logged wins during Week 3. Now, this should not be a surprise. We've talked about this during the Week 1 and Week 2 recap, that because the lock-in points come on Monday evening, New Zealand time, or Monday, New Zealand time, you actually have a couple potential days worth of the midweek events before it actually locks. And that's fine. And that's, again, we understand that. The problem is, if you actually go and you look at the points from Week 2 to Week 3, Dash and Briar didn't change. So I don't have those points. So potentially there's another 10 on the table. You wonder what else is potentially floating out there. And that is one thing that I am super positive. I want to be very clear. I love Skirmish season more than anything else. Super positive on what it does for the community. But we've seen a couple times through these roll-ups that this season's been a little rough, right? They haven't done a super great job with the points tracking. And I just want to throw it out there, maybe Mondays is not the right day to do it, right? Because we saw, again, if you go back to my week breakdown, week 1, there were supposed to be way more points on. There were 900 points available, only 745 of which got logged. But yet week 2, there were only 875 available, 975 got logged. It's very clear that there's some latency in the system. So I would just propose it to LSS that maybe instead of doing a Monday lock, maybe you do like a Tuesday lock or a Wednesday lock even. And I get it. That gives less time between the lock and the banning on Friday, right? Or I should say the effective banning on Friday. I understand that that doesn't give people a bunch of turnaround, and I understand that feedback. But isn't it better to have it be right? So anyway, just throwing it out there, but that's really neither here nor there towards the larger portion of this conversation, okay? So going back to LSS's main thing, Rhinar, he did this thing week 3. So he was the big winner. Well, I shouldn't say big winner. He was the overall winner at 19. Blaze pulling in 17. I guess once Zen was gone, Blaze was finally able to do her thing. And then Victor at 13. And Kayo, armed Kayo, coming in at 12. And you see Prism was starting to poke her head up there as well, significantly. And again, shout out to James Armstrong. That's right, getting your LL points and on the honor roll for Prism over in the UK. Congratulations for that win. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the spreadsheet. That's right, for week 3 breakdown. So this one, so you're going to be looking at the same points, but I have 2 different versions in terms of how they're sorted. And what we're looking at right now is really put in context of where we landed with total points at the end of week 3. So what we see is that Rhinar, the big winner there with 95 points logged week 3, put him way over where he needed to be, which we expected, taking down 20% of the wins on week 3, right? And if we just go back, just to throw it up, week 3, reminder, was the smallest of the 3 weeks, which also makes sense, happening concurrent with the Rosetta World Premiere in Tampa, also probably drew some attention from that, right? That can't be ignored, that overlap was unfortunate to a certain degree, that it doesn't make the points any less valid, right? So 485 points logged there. Rhinar winning 19 of them correlates to 20% of the field. Now, Victor pulled down 13% and Blaze at just about 18% of the field. Okay, so very good performances by those 3 heroes. Now, it is very interesting to look at Armed Kayo coming on pretty strong. It was a brute week 3, let's put it that way, because Levia actually did pretty well as well. So that's, Levia got, what was it, 2%, I guess. Actually, that's not as good as I thought it was, but Levia got her point. She's super strong in Blitz. But Kayo actually, if I'm thinking about it now, I'm actually surprised Levia is not doing better than Kayo. But Kayo can just put damage out there and do things. So it was a brute weekend, let's put it that way. Very impressive. So now let's fast forward to the overall recap. And what I want to, so you can see highlighted in orange there on the far right is the overall season percentage. So Zen ended up pulling down 21.4% of the total points. Okay. Now keep in mind, he didn't earn any points week 3. Okay. And well, apparently Dash and Briar didn't either. Which even though we were told they did, but again, I don't want to harp on that. Okay. But 21.4%, over 20%. Went from 0 to hero. He went from 35 to hero in 2 weeks, which is pretty crazy. And Victor at 15% overall. The only reason Victor didn't make it is there haven't been that many events. I mean, Heavy Hitters released in, I think it was late January, early February. I don't remember the exact date. Let's just say it was early February, because I think it was. He's had no points since then. He ended at 450 points. He's in pretty good shape, right? And then we also have Blaze, who came out, I think it was July? Maybe it was, no, it was probably mid-June. And she's had a couple points, but she pulled down 10% of the overall season, right? It's pretty impressive. You go look at Dash and Briar, both at 4.3%. That's just, they were legal for the 2 weeks. So they well exceeded what they needed to. Remember, they both needed 3 and 3.3. They're gone. Zen, he needed the 20.7. He's gone. Victor, not gone. Very relevant. He's going to continue to be very good, I think. Not I think. I'm confident that Victor will continue to be very good. And Blaze will be very interesting to see where she fits in with all the other Arcane heroes. Or did she get a bunch of new stuff out of this? I tend to think no. And by this, I mean Rosetta, to be clear. I tend to think she didn't get a bunch of new stuff and that her deck will largely remain unchanged. Maybe a couple more Zap version 10.3s get cited in or something like that. Completely potential. There's probably a card or two that the Wizards are wetting their lips about, but she should continue to do very well. And remember, we won't have more points now until late November, early December, whatever the exact dates of Skirmish Season 10 will be. And that's assuming that it doesn't become more and more LO focused. I would imagine it'll follow roughly the same optional format for LO Blitz. At least we hope so. Otherwise, where are those points going to come from for Blitz, right? So overall, pretty great. Now, the thing that I do want to draw your eye to is at 7.7% on Kayo, on Armed Kayo. The vast majority of that done in the last, the vast majority of it, not all of it, but the vast majority of it done in the 3rd week. That is very interesting to me. Because if, now that Rhinar's gone, right, you're not So go, start as of now, Rhinar's gone. So if you were to go back and look at what would Kayo have done or what would Levia have done if Rhinar wasn't there, that's interesting. And do remember, we also have, in terms of Levia, we also have the change, the BNS, right, of AOW and all the card draw, right? The Forbidden Books of Rathe are all gone. But they weren't for week 3, but they are now, right? So you have multiple things happening. You have all the bans, you have the bans, you have the LLs, and then you have a new set dropping. So what you really need to look at are the heroes who are largely unaffected by that, or either are unaffected by that, or were just running their game plan independently of who they ran up against. And you know what? That's Blaze. And I also think it's Victor. Victor was just doing his thing independently. Blaze was just doing her thing independently. They were the strongest in week 3. Well, aside from Rhinar, right? Strongest coming out of week 3. And now they can continue to do their thing. So I think those are the ones you look to very much. I honestly have no idea how these Rosetta heroes are going to fit into Blitz. I think it's way too early, and I just can't get my head around how life gain is going to fit into that. And then you've got Yoji floating out there. Be very, very, very interesting. So anyway, that is the recap overall. This was very exciting to see how this huge influx of points that we had on the table this season was going to land. And it landed how we needed it to, with Zen going. Like, there's zero question that Zen needed to go. So that's great. I am net surprised that Blaze didn't do better. Right, and let's be very clear here, Blaze is just shy of halfway there after only being legal for 2 months. But I thought she was going to do better. And Victor not making, I think we called that during the week 2 recap, we called that Victor probably was probable, not likely. And that is what we saw. And I think that's only because Blaze popped up more than we thought. And also, again, Kayo. So that's someone we need to watch, because Kayo doesn't really care about Art of War, right? I don't think there's anything that really impacts him there. So we'll see how it all fits. So anyway, folks, I hope you had so again, thank you for joining me. I really enjoy doing these skirmish season points trackings. It's something I very much enjoy doing. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching and for giving your feedback and comments and everything, not only today, but obviously in the past on where we thought things were going. I really enjoy engaging with you all about it. So anyway, thank you. LSS, thank you again for skirmish season. And remember, if you need any help with the points tabulation, I'm here. Let me know, and go Commando.